Hey, everybody. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie Pleasantville. Enjoy the movie. Modest schoolboy David imagines that he is socializing with a beauty in the schoolyard. During lessons, teachers tell students what horrors await them in adulthood. David's real outlet is the old black and white TV show Pleasantville, which is always good and which he knows by heart. Unlike his divorced parents, the Parker couple love and respect each other and are attentive to their children. Together with his mate, he is preparing for a competition timed to coincide with the marathon of the series, which begins tonight. His sister Jennifer is the complete opposite of the guy, liberated and easy on the ears. She invites the local hottie home, as her mother is leaving for a young suitor, but her plans to start a languid evening by watching a concert on MTV are disrupted by David, who is just about to start a marathon. During a struggle for the remote control, it breaks and the TV can't be turned on. The doorbell rings, and on the doorstep there is a TV master, whom no one called. It turns out that the strange man is also a fan of Pleasantville. He sees how much the young man is a fan of the series and offers him a special remote control that gives the effect of total immersion. The fight for the remote is renewed. David and Jennifer synchronized serial brother and sister and magically found themselves on the other side of the screen. From now on they are Bud and Mary Sue Parker living in a delicate American town in the 50s. Mary Sue is indignant about her colorlessness, and a mysterious telemaster appears on TV and says it's a gift to them for David knowing the show so well, but then the old man takes offense at their displeasure and promises to return only when they reconsider their behavior. The brother and sister are called to breakfast by their new mother Betty. Newly minted Daddy George is already sitting at the table, and their standard breakfast is more like a buffet. The hellish mix of bacon, pancakes, ham, and maple syrup nearly makes Mary Sue vomit. On the way to school, the damsel freaks out, and Bud suggests she start adjusting. A fire truck rushes by. The fire brigade hurries to get the cat out of the tree. It's all their job since nothing burns in Pleasantville. Mary Sue quickly forgets about her sadness when the car drives up captain of the basketball team, Skip Martin, and according to the plot of the series, he fell for her heroine. At the geography class, the girl wonders what is outside Pleasantville, but it only makes everyone smile, because everyone knows that at the end of the main street of the city is its beginning. On the basketball court, the bunny boys always hit the hoop. Bud is also unable to miss, learning from him that Mary Sue may not go out with him. Skip freaks out and unexpectedly misses. Realizing that the world of Pleasantville may be crumbling, Bud convinces his sister to go on a date with Skip, as the story goes. Just then, during the conversation, it is revealed that the local books have completely blank pages. While Mary Sue is trying on a giant bra, Bad is rushing to work at the coffee shop. Because the guy was late and his usual schedule was disrupted, his boss Bill Johnson didn't know what to do and was nonstop rubbing the table. So we realize that Pleasantville is indeed very fragile. In the evening, Skip and Mary Sue come to the cafe, where the guy embarrassedly admits that so far he has not held the girl's hand, as he does not like to rush things. In the restroom, the girlfriends wonder if Skip put it in her. It's really about the buttonhole and the badge. Mary Sue decides to take matters into her own hands and invites Skip to the lovers' parking lot. Bud realizes where this is going, but he doesn't have time to stop them. While everyone is admiring the lake, the girl suggests that Skip put more than just a badge on her. A frightened Skip can't understand what just happened to him. Bill knocks on the Parker house and brags to Bud that he didn't do things the usual way today. His eyes linger too long on Mrs. Parker. Driving up to his house, Skip saw something amazing, a red rose. The next day he told the team in colors what had happened last night, and no player hit the ring after that. Mary Jane teaches her girlfriends new words, like cool, that also have consequences. During the night, the lovers' parking lot is drowned in moans, and the undefeated team loses by a crushing score. The city is slowly taking on color. Bill has realized the cyclical nature of his life and wants to change it. It turns out that the man is quite good at drawing. The men in the barbershop wonder how a basketball team with the motto "We can beat anyone" could lose, and the women discuss the painful colorfulness of one of their daughters. Betty is interested in all these changes in town and learns from her daughter what sex is. Her husband does nothing of the sort with her, so she learns at the same time from Mary Sue another way to give herself pleasure. The woman followed her advice and the world around her immediately turned color, and a tree in the yard even caught fire. Too bad a fireman doesn't know what fire is. The cat was not on the spot, so with the active help of Bud had to deal with the flames. The guy receives a medal for bravery, after which Margaret runs up to him and hands him a cookie. Although according to the plot of the series, she baked her cookies for another guy. Some of the young men are already colored from head to toe. In the cafe, all wondering how Bud learned how to put out the fire, the answer that it was done in his old town, all only confused. After all, they have no idea what lies beyond Pleasantville, and here it turns out there are roads that don't close in a circle. A brother and sister tell young people about something or other in a book, and the once blank pages are filled with letters. After that, there's a huge line at the library. The men look at this flower garden and decide it's time to do something. The mayor comes to George Parker and discusses with him the emergence of double beds in the city and the fact that people now quit unloved jobs, and then makes him a member of the city council. A husband asks his wife to make brownies, but she doesn't respond. She's ashamed. She has also become a person of color. Her new shameful appearance is helped by her son with gray makeup to hide it. Bud brings Bill an album of paintings from the library, and he is delighted to learn about art. He wishes he could use the same colors. Bud asks Margaret out on a date and she agrees. The guy is delighted, so he refuses to return to his world. When it is suggested to him by a telecaster who appears on the screen, Mary Sue wonders why she hasn't colored yet, because she spends 10 times more time in the parking lot than any other girl. Probably it's not just about sex. Meanwhile, the most romantic place in town has also become the most colored. Betty walks in on Bill as he is passionately painting a picture. The woman is also amazed by the beauty of the painting and accidentally reveals her secret. The artist is very pleased with her new look. It brings them closer together. Over time, Sue stops having fun with Skip and favors books. During the date, Bud tells Margaret about the dangers of the outside world, and she offers the guy a taste of an apple. They hadn't grown in town before. George has returned home, except there's no one to greet him. His wife is now posing for Bill. At the same time, another incredible event is happening in town. It's starting to really rain. Bud shows the schoolchildren that they needn't be afraid of it. George continues to marvel at the absence of his wife and dinner. Dazed and wet, he comes to the bowling club, where he tells the mayor and the other men what a nightmare he had to face. He scares the others with his story. Poor Roy has also suffered the horrors of the new age. The mayor calls those present to action. Betty spent the night with Bill, who also colored the entire interior of the cafe. Finally woke up colored, and Mary Sue, the same happened to the other guys. Sad Bud alone is still made up of shades of gray. At home, George demands that Betty keep things the same, but the woman disagrees. She teaches her husband how to use the oven and leaves. A car with a couple of black and white kids drives through town, reminding everyone about the town meeting. They make dirty jokes about Margaret's colorfulness. At the meeting itself, the town's older black and white population can be seen exclusively. The mayor proposes to separate the pleasant things from the unpleasant things, that is, to literally enforce segregation. Only black and white people are now allowed into the stores. Betty has moved in with Bill. The telemaster once again shows up in front of Bud and lashes out at the guy for what's happening to the town and demands the remote back, but the young man refuses. A portrait of a naked Betty is painted on the window of a cafe, which causes mass discontent. The woman is surrounded and harassed by teenagers, demanding to see what she has under her dress. Bud easily fends her off because the locals don't know what fighting and blood are. Right after that, the young man finally gets some color. The town's conservatives smash the portrait windows, break into the cafe, and smash it. Absolutely all the books are burned. The colored guys fleeing from persecution barricade themselves in the cafe. At the regular meeting, the mayor proposes to introduce a new set of laws so the library and lovers parking lot are now closed, umbrellas and double beds are forbidden to be sold. You can listen to literally 5 nice tunes. Teachers will tell students about the superiority of constancy over change, and most importantly, the only colors allowed in town are black, white, and gray. Regardless, Bud turns on the forbidden music. Overnight, he and Bill painted a huge wall, displaying everything that had happened in Pleasantville recently. Outraged residents raised a ruckus and a fuss and sent the artists to jail. The imprisoned boy's father, George, still believes Betty went out for a walk 3 days ago. The artists are on trial for defacing city property and using illegal colors. Bud takes the stand and says the world is a diverse and emotional place. Everything can't be pleasant. Bud draws George's attention to how beautiful his wife has become. The man cries and becomes colored. Guy continues that what is happening cannot be stopped, and it is in everyone present. The always reserved, pleasant mayor snaps and in a flash is also stripped of his grayness, after which he flees the courtroom. The townspeople go outside and see that Pleasantville is completely colored. Color TV shows the world outside the city. David is going home and Jennifer has decided to stay in this world. She gets on the bus to the next town. The guy also says goodbye to Margaret and his serialized mother. David presses the remote control button and disappears. He finds himself at home exactly 1 hour after the marathon starts. The mother decides not to go anywhere and comes home. She's crying because her life didn't work out the way it should. To which the guy replies that nothing in the world is as it should be. In Pleasantville, life is booming, but the question of who Betty ends up with remains unanswered.